Welcome everyone to the Warbound World of Warcraft podcast, episode 3. With me today is Theo, who is basically home after going to a concert last week.
You mean last night?
Sorry, last
I'm
night.
pretending. Yes, pretending that I'm still in high school and I can stay up all night after a concert. So we're recording this a little bit later than we expected because I spent my entire Monday in bed
Yeah,
recovering
we
and
might
sleep.
be getting this out later. I don't have anything planned tomorrow, but I'm just behind on getting footage from the game, so you may just be looking at me flying around Flight Pass doing world quests for this episode. We don't really have a topic for this episode. We haven't thought of one, so I think we're just going into. It's been like a month since the expansion came out, right?
Yeah,
Give
yeah,
or take.
roughly.
If
Yeah,
depending on if you were a peasant or a king, and
yeah.
we're just going to give some general vibes about what you think, about where maybe it stacks up against other ones. So, Theo, we'll just kick it off with you about your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. As far as I guess there's a lot of things that I'd want to get into. As far as I guess just like the basics of like the leveling experience, the questing and everything, and we already talked raids and dungeons a little bit, but just kind of like the main things that we think about. I honestly can't think of a time that I've been like this into an expansion this early. Like I've already got 4 alts that I'm playing relatively regularly, which is kind of crazy. I mean, usually I wait a little bit to start leveling alts, and that's for a variety of reasons. I don't know if we're gonna get into the whole how easy it was to level in in the pre-patch in the early access period, and then they kind of nerfed it with all the dungeon spamming and things like that. But I've just found myself like I'm not playing anything else. I'm only playing WoW, which is kind of making sense because the expansion just came out, but it does seem like the hype has been staying there for a while longer, whereas a lot of times the new expansion comes out and after the first couple of weeks I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll fall into my routine of raid logging and things like that. And I haven't hit that point just yet, so
Yeah,
it definitely has yeah.
I think so as well. I didn't. So, in, for those who are listening, I didn't pay for the early access period, and Theo did.
Mhm.
Theo kind of had a legit reason to do it, which was that he was going literally on a family trip uh, right after launch on that Tuesday, or right in the middle of
Yeah.
launch. So it allowed him to level some things and stuff before the game actually
Yeah.
came out, which was fine. I found that the early access period. I remember hearing some people saying the typical, uh, your typical like MMO Andes. Oh, if you're not paying for the early access, you're going to be way behind and everything like that. And just the fact that you couldn't really do anything
Mhm.
in the early access besides level. Like you couldn't even unlock the Earthen Race, even though Blizzard's promotional materials were making it sound like you could, because you had to do the main quest line, which wasn't out until a week after the expansion came out and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Like I literally didn't miss anything at all. Now Theo had
Yeah,
a
yeah.
more legit reason, and it's just a bad design of game companies that expansions are launching on a Tuesday rather than a Thursday night on a normal basis, But
Yeah.
um,
Exactly, yeah. I basically, if I didn't get the early access, since the early access was over the weekend, I wasn't gonna have a single day that I wasn't either on vacation or at work before Raid opened up, and I was just worried like
yeah,
I'm gonna be rolling up to Raid in like some rat character that's like 560 item level and holding everything back, and so I did feel like kind of pressured to do early access. But I also, I mean, I probably luckily I'm fortunate enough that I probably would have done it anyway, but I still think it's something that they're definitely going to do it again. We
oh,
know
they're
they're going to do it
absolutely
again.
because
It's going to
because
print, it's printing
EA
free
is
money,
doing
but
it, because Bethesda did it with Starfield, and I paid
mhm,
for some of those times, which is whatever. I think with certain games it's fine where, like, with, for example, Madden, right, to just go into a sports game real quick, you're literally just getting the whole game. And then you can play it. But with WoW, they were like, oh, you can't even do heroic dungeons. You know? And then it was this, like, crazy race for people to be, like, best in slot, early access. You know, I know in some war mode shards or whatever, they were, like, just farming the newbies because they were all, you know, 80 or whatever, just killing 70s. But overall, I think it was inconsequential, and I wouldn't be surprised if Blizzard does something different next time to get more people to do it. What
see,
that
that's
entails,
what
I don't
I'm
know,
about.
but kind of it's
I'm
just capitalism. It's just capitalism being capitalism, and whatever.
Yeah, like the way they did it, the way they did it this patch or this time around was probably the least predatory way they could do it. Still predatory, but least predatory way they could do it.
Yeah.
I could see them, you know, cranking it up a little bit, having you have more access to things.
What was predatory is they literally said in one of their promotional videos that you could play as the players, the Earthen race, and you couldn't. And that's the funny part. Is I was like, the only thing I would want to do is unlock the Earthen race, and you couldn't have even done that. So I'm glad I didn't pay $40. You know, I went and got myself a commander deck instead in Magic the Gathering, which has a whole bunch of drama going on right now. If you don't know, but we're not going to get into that. This is a World of Warcraft podcast. So okay. So early access aside, launch was great. Launch was smooth. Zero technical problems because
because of the early access. I think it made it a little smoother. Which that might, if there was a single positive, and it doesn't outweigh the negatives, that's probably the single positive was like. I don't think I got disconnected once.
It's effectively like you're paying for 3 days of like beta access or something.
Yeah, but
like
the fact that I was able to just go on
access.
Yeah. Like I was able to get on, you know, right as the quest went live and play all night and not get disconnected once.
Yeah.
As soon as
I remember Legion's being like that. I remember Legion's launch for some reason being like 4 a.m. Or maybe it was late at night and I just woke up at 4 a.m. the next day to play. But I remember Legion's launch being pretty smooth. I honestly don't remember a lot of the other ones. I don't think I played like right at launch, you know, like I could with this one.
The only ones I really remember were, I mean, WoD was really bad because they funneled everyone into the same point to set up the garrison, and that was bugged first day. And then, not everyone, but I remember my Shadowlands experience was really, really bad because I was an idiot and I was still playing in Area 52 then. And that was when I learned to not play on a mega server. And I mean, like, I was just kind of raiding with a guild that I wasn't really, you know, that invested in. I wasn't, you know, back with your guild yet. So as soon as they offered free transfers, I was like,
I'm gone.
I knew that, you know, everything was gonna be resolved in the next couple of days. But I was like, I don't even care. Give me a free transfer.
Yeah, I don't know what life is like on I've been on Wormrest Accord since 2013, basically, and I've never really played on another server at all. So, yeah. But I would say, to not get sidetracked about servers and everything, my opinion, from a straight-up just fantasy standpoint, is this is one of the best expansions they've ever made. This has you're in the classic like D&D Underdark sort of vibe, at least at the start with the first 2 zones, and then Hollowfall does seem to add on a bit of its own WoW flavoring with that. And then I think Ajkahet, I mean, there's just so many cool things about how the levels look, about how, yeah, you're underground for 3 zones, but it does feel like 3 separate underground zones.
Hmm.
And just things like the level design. Like, I don't know if you've done it, but there's a side quest in Ajkahet where you are dealing with like the last coral walker or something. Like this guy's like a legit coral walker from Ajara, the Najatar zone, right?
Hmm.
And he's like, "Oh, yeah, I'm the last coral walker because this used to be a giant ocean. You used to be at the bottom of an ocean in Ajkahet. And so now, like, when I'm flying between Hollowfall and Ajkahet, all I'm seeing is that, that great sea that Beladar is over and all this stuff was much, much bigger. And it makes me
Hmm.
like, why is it not bigger? What happened? Why did the ocean disappear? Why did this cave open up, and when did the Nerubians show up? How long ago did all this happen? How long is this? Like, it really just builds you into the world building of like, now I want to know more. You know.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know if the Ringing Deeps feel that way, and it may have been like the Titans or the Earth and it cleared out the Ringing Deeps and stuff like that. But just overall, like leveling, most of the dungeons have been on point. Delves are honestly incredible. So I play a lot with my wife, and the delves, the two of us can go in, take our time. We're not subject to possibly having a bad healer. We're not subject to having a tank who's just taking off in a dungeon. And we're able to just kind of go through. And I like that the delves are like this slower paced, kind of do these puzzles, unlock people from webs, kind of pacing, and that they're
Yeah.
easy to get in and out of with my wife and two people, and just do
Yeah.
it. Um,
Yeah. I mean, I have a little different perspective on delves, but that's just because I mean, delves I think were made for exactly what you would talk about, like you and your wife going in, slamming it, especially with her being a lot more casual than even us who are admittedly pretty casual.
yeah,
That's what that's made for. Part of what I don't like about delves is that, and I no, I don't want it to be like I don't think open world should have open world content like that shouldn't have good rewards, but I feel like I don't like that how much better delves are if you're farming. Like the best way to farm gear is just to spam delves, and then that means that I feel like I should be doing delves all the time on on my main to make sure that I'm not falling behind in raid.
but
And I
let me
hate
ask
that
you
I
this. Let me ask you
yeah.
this. Would you rather get good gear from delves or something like delves, or would you rather be infinitely grinding AP power on island expeditions? Because I'm
Oh, okay, yeah. If
pretty
we
sure I know what the answer
Yeah, yeah. If we're
is.
gonna compare it to island expeditions, then definitely that.
Or doing
Um,
Torghast, or like,
yeah.
I,
I mean,
it's not perfect,
yeah,
but oh my word, like they really did knock it out of the
yeah.
park, and I like that you can't get a 616. I mean, at least from like a level 3 or level 8, you can't get a 616 and at the end of the delve, right? Like, if you're 610 and pushing a
It's only from
9,
the vault.
you
Yeah,
don't get any good gear until the vault, and then you only get one good piece of gear. So it really does slow
yeah,
down the whole
yeah,
leveling.
yeah. It just adds that one more thing, and this is kind of a silly complaint, and it's probably a complaint showing how good the expansion is. It's like I feel like there's too much to do. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
oh,
Like
absolutely.
the
I've
checklist.
stopped
Yeah,
I've stopped doing certain weeklies and stuff like
yep,
that because I was just
exactly.
like, I'm getting to the
Yeah,
point where like on my main I'm just going to be raid logging, so I'm just going to do all this stuff on other alts, which is good. Like that's the point, is that
yeah,
I can log on and go, oh, I feel like playing a paladin this week, so I'm going to do the theater troupe and the lightfall stuff, the lamplighter stuff, and the Ajaket
yeah,
dailies, on a different character,
and
and that's
yeah.
good in my opinion. that they can
And it's
even
mostly just
level through that and stuff.
yeah. It's mostly just me being a weird WoW player, I think, because I mean I've obviously I've been playing since early Burning Crusade, or late Burning Crusade, like
Black
you,
Temple
on
was
and
the
off.
patch we started
Yeah,
playing Burning
yeah,
Crusade. Yeah.
but I feel like when it's been kind of in waves, kind of taking breaks and stuff, and since I've come back, that was like kind of late Legion, early Battle for Azeroth when I really got into it, and I became just like a total like I'm the kind of person that just wants to log in and just do dungeons. I just want to queue for a dungeon and just do dungeons. It's why I heal, so I can find groups easily. There's no wait time and everything like that. And so like I'm just kind of complaining like as a healer we have all of this other stuff to do, and I guess part that I don't like about Delve specifically is, well, technically, they do say that yes, they're role agnostic. You can go in by yourself and do that. Anyone telling you to do that as a healer is completely trolling you.
Oh yeah,
The
no, I know
scaling is
that like a
awful.
priest
Like
literally
if I go
can't.
in, yeah, if I go in solo on a healer, my brand should be like destroying mobs, like just absolutely melting things. And I think that's the part that I don't like about Delves, and again, it's probably clashing with the vision of Delves of like having like actual difficult world content that you can progress through, because that's not what I
Yeah.
want. What I want is I want like end of Shadowlands, core gas, where I'm just going in, getting super buffed, and just annihilating things. And as a healer, that's not what Delves are right now. So and it's just kind of annoying that to do Delves at level 8, the most efficient way to do it is to still get a 5 stack of people with a tank and a healer and 3 DPS. Trying to
Then
do
you're
it
just
without a
doing
tank is
dungeons
kind of
anyway.
obnoxious. Exactly. And again, that's just me trying to do it the most efficient way possible, because I'm doing it on so many different characters, and because the leveling was so easy, I have more
Yeah,
characters that
it's
I feel
definitely
obligated to play. It's kind of becoming a snowballing problem, and obviously the solution is take a chill pill, stop playing the alts, things like that. But it's just kind of, I think the scaling and the role agnostic part of it needs a lot more tweaking before it becomes really good. I think it's something that can revolutionize the game and will be really good. I just think the scaling is really,
yeah. Like
really
me
good
and
now.
me and my wife are doing like sixes. She's a
Mhm.
mage and I'm a prot warrior, and like Brand's just a second DPS. And while we don't have like a way to necessarily heal at all, because like we have to sit down and eat if we get hit by anything, but it still kind of works out in terms of just
Mhm.
uh, a 6 is like that sweet spot where I
Doing
don't
it,
think we
yeah,
care to get better gear than a 6 in a way.
yeah.
At least for her. I run a couple
Hmm.
8s by myself like every week and stuff just to get that 616 slot, but we're also at the point in Heroic
Yeah.
and on Mythic Pluses where that slot is now better
Then,
than the
yeah,
Delve slot.
then it
So,
helps. Yeah. Well, I guess
because
that's,
we
I
just
guess,
cleared a
yeah.
6. What was it? A 6?
6 necrotic
Does it
wake
show me
was
on
the
here? No, it doesn't.
yeah, it was necrotic wake.
Was it Necrotic Wake? Yeah, we just
Yeah.
crushed that. I mean, no, we didn't. We
Oh
barely got
yeah,
to
timed it
10.
with 5 seconds.
I mean,
Yeah,
to be
yeah,
fair, that was because we didn't know how to like get back down from the tower, and then I released and shouldn't have and stuff like that.
yeah.
But it worked out.
Well, no, but I guess, and so you did bring up something that I think is kind of getting to the root of like why delves feel so weird, and it is the fact that like people who normally wouldn't be doing delves feel like they have to do it because again, there's a hero track. If you do an 8, there's a hero track item that you get guaranteed in your vault.
Yeah,
Whereas you kind of just mentioned your wife, who is the person that Blizzard literally designed delves for.
yeah. It's not even
She doesn't.
like they designed it for me,
Yeah,
who's slightly
yeah,
more casual than you, in that
yeah.
I'm
And
still a heroic
like, yeah,
raider, play all week, but
yeah. And I'm sure she's, it's awesome that she's able to get gear like that from that. But if it wasn't giving hero track gear, if it was giving, the same gear as Mythic Zeros at the end of the week, I'm sure, it would. And I obviously don't want to speak for other players, but I don't think that would ruin it. Like she would still be doing those delves if it was giving hero track versus
yeah.
non-hero track
So we're
gear.
gonna get
And I
off
think
delves for
that's
a second
something.
here.
Yeah.
Because that is the biggest point of the expansion, I think, is delves have changed how the game works and how the game flows, and I think it is for the better ultimately. But
Yeah,
a
for sure.
huge thing they added that I don't think we brought up at all is the hero talents in that.
Oh yeah.
Um, I guess it was kind of a mixed bag at first because I know some classes effectively didn't have any good choices. Now, I played a warrior and I played a prot warrior which had two good choices right off the bat, and you can, especially in a raid setting, you can choose between Colossus or Mountain Thane. Mountain Thane is visual effects are insane and cool. But I know that like hunters and I don't know if rogues had bad ones, but like hunters and like druids, paladins have had like very mid hero talents. So just your thoughts on hero talents real quick, because we only have about
Yeah.
10 minutes.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, actually, it's kind of funny because it is like between the again, I said I got those four mains that I'm focusing on. Really, it's kind of two mains that I'm really focusing on, and then two other alts that I'm kind of messing around with at the end of the week when I have nothing else to do. But it is the perfect example of feast or famine when it comes to those hero talents because I've got an evoker as my main, and then I have
Yeah,
a
how do the
druid as my
evoker?
second class.
Have you tried all three? How does evoker feel?
Well, so I haven't messed around at all with devastation. I'm just doing aug and preservation. And I like it, and I like it because you use a different hero talent for raid and for mythic plus, at least for
That's cool.
preservation. Um, and I mean, obviously, I enjoy the preservation raid right now because it's super overtuned. Now that the race for World First is over, probably going to be nerfed. But it's just nice because while it's definitely overtuned, like the flame shaper like ability that you get, the consume flame ability, actually like feels good to press.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas with a druid, you have the hero talent that is at least in raid, you're usually using the Grove Guardians one, and it's buffing your Grove Guardians, but you never like press your Grove Guardian and be like, oh yeah, now I'm pumping heals. Like it just doesn't feel like a good button to press.
Yeah,
It's not, and that's kind of I think that's just a larger issue with druids right now is that it takes so long to ramp up, and then you don't have a good payoff to like do a lot of healing. Whereas with a
I
preservation
mean, I do
evoker,
wonder
I can
how
just
much of
beam, yeah.
like I basically, so at the end of Dragonflight, right, we had the event and all that
Mhm.
stuff, the pre-patch event, and I leveled 17 alts to level 70.
Yep.
You could sit in that pre-patch event and just crush
Just crush
levels
it,
all
yeah.
day. I think I had like maybe 7 characters at 70 before that pre-patch event. I got 10 more to 70. So I had
Hmm.
17 characters to pick from. I finally like at some point I'd been leveling a prot warrior for like the first time ever during Dragonflight and just like semi enjoying it. The character is called Dark Biden. He's an undead,
Nice.
and
Yep.
I'd been enjoying it and stuff. And I went, well, after I did the troll heritage questline, I was like, I'm playing a troll no matter what. Boosted a troll druid. Uh, Liked that, but then I actually learned how to play the prot like play style, and once it started
Hmm.
flowing, I was like, this feels good. And then all of the like talking heads out there were like, prot warrior is going to be the best tank in this expansion. Um, and I was like, okay, I guess we're playing prot warrior.
Hmm.
No, so I think a little bit of it was Prot Warrior is definitely flavor of the month right now. Mountain Thane is insanely fun. You get this like massive thunderclap that just like slams down on
Yeah.
everything. And even if I'm not doing big damage, it feels like it, and that's what matters. I
It,
don't care if I'm not
yeah.
doing big. Like right now, I'm on my Demon Hunter who is Fellscar. I haven't even looked up at a guide yet for this character. I don't know what's better, but when I hit Metamorphosis, my abilities and all my buttons change colors and get
Mhm.
empowered, and it feels powerful. I don't know if it actually is,
Yeah.
but it feels it, and that's what matters, I think.
Exactly. Yeah.
My Elemental Shaman I love having like the little Farseer guys. Sounds like anything with like a super serious visual effect really,
Yeah, I think
really
that's the
stood
key
out
thing.
in terms of like absolutely crushing what people wanted.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. Like, for example, again, I'll just keep going back to the Vesper Druid because, you just, you hit Grove Guardians and it's the same as, normal Grove Guardians. It's not really doing anything. While it's like increasing your healing, it's not,
Yeah, yeah.
it's not cool to hit. Whereas like, for another example, like the Holy Priest with the Archon build where it buffs your Halo, like that is super cool because it just makes your Halo pulse, and like that's a really cool visual effect to have your
Yep.
Halo pulse in and out, the several times.
Yeah, even the
And
Felskart stuff, like the abilities do more, but I don't have like an active ability. And then like my alternate on my Prot Warrior, Colossus, that button feels so good to hit. And you can
yeah,
see, when I was questing and I was like, I'm just going to try out Colossus for a little while, all of a sudden I hit that button and 70% of the mob's health is gone. And you're just like,
mhm,
whoa. You feel like this
exactly.
massive guy who's on the battlefield just crushing the life
Yeah.
out of everyone. So I think,
I mean, it's obviously a big win. I think it's just that there's the few classes that feel a little bit left behind.
yeah, I think like one of the worst ones, I tried Totemic for a little bit on a shaman. This is also just one of the expansions where I'm playing a warrior and a shaman, and normally for the last 5 expansions, I want to say, I've been playing a monk and a demon hunter or a warlock. So I've totally
Mhm.
branched out into new classes and everything. And I don't know. I don't know like how to play a shaman, but totemic like still feels fun. You're throwing down a big totem that is like doing a lot when you throw it down, even if it's not the best thing to pick. Stormbringer is giving you like a lot of other extra lightning stuff, which is cool for a shaman, you know. Um, but I just haven't touched those classes that are bad because I had gotten the urge to play other classes, which I think is good and was what's keeping this expansion alive. Is like this demon hunter is 78 and is my third alt, and I think it's a great expansion to just. I wanna try out this hero talent, so I'm gonna level something
Mhm.
random. I think a great thing is from rares in the world, from different things in the world. Um, the bound on Warbound or the Warbound. Shout out to our
Oh.
podcast, Warbound.
Yeah.
But Warbound gear drops that you can then just give to other characters and stuff. So
Oh
ultimately,
yeah.
I think it'll get better. And I know that they immediately came out and they were like, okay, well, we're gonna rework Paladin, we're gonna rework Hunter, we're gonna figure out what needs to happen. I know my wife on her mage has been really enjoying Frostfire. I know that the other specs have looked cool and feel cool. You get like a
Mhm.
Phoenix in one of them. So ultimately, let's wrap it up here. But so with hero talents, delves, everything, like it's a month in, but it's early on. So where is War Within in your opinion?
Mm.
In
Yeah, I
terms,
mean,
just give like a
yeah,
you can give like a mid like a high mid low if you want.
yeah. I would say like yeah, high mid to high. You know, too early, obviously, to say it's like, the best expansion ever. I think the thing is a lot of expansions kind of grow because of like the systems. Like
Hmm.
for example, BFA had growing pains, but BFA like Nyalotha was awesome, especially once they made it easier to get the corrupted visions and things. Like once all those systems were in place, it felt really good. What's nice with War Within is it doesn't have all of those systems that we're worrying about. It's just like the base game feels good. Again,
Yeah.
some outliers, but going on and just playing your abilities, playing with the hero talents, just feels good. And it's the most alt friendly
Selecting a hero
expansion we've
talent,
ever
I
had.
do feel,
Yes.
for the most part, whether it's the class teams or the flavor teams, or I don't even know who really makes these decisions, but they absolutely nailed that. Like, demon hunters are choosing between being these absolute demon killer warriors, the Aldrachi, or Felscard and giving in a little bit more, pushing the limit that you're allowing that demon to take control. Because I don't know if you know the lore behind it, but they literally have like demons inside them, and it's all about containing that demon. And the Felscard is pushing that boundary a little bit more to get a little bit more power, and both of those feel good in demon huntery, right? I think the Colossus, the Slayer, and the Thunder, the Mountain Thane all make sense. I really like the Evoker ones. I don't really care to play an Evoker, but like Scale Commander, Chrono Warden, and the other one there,
the Flame Shaper.
Flame Shapers, all like that class is extremely flavorful. I think it's really well done. So I do think almost every single, like, I almost played a mage because the Frostfire mage and the Sun Fury mage just looked so cool. Just looked so cool. Yeah. And even the Arcane Frost one, I can't remember it off the top of my head, but looked like so awesome. So yeah, I think there's still a lot to go. I think you're right. I think we have to see 11.1, 11.2. I think a little bit what's keeping me going is the anniversaries coming out soon with 11.0.5, which adds a bunch of Drakthir playable classes, which again, like, now I can level an Earthen. I mean, I already have an Earthen at 80, but I can level an Earthen or a Drakthir now through normal leveling zones, which is something I've come to love as I've gotten older. I think, like you said, you do dungeons a lot, but I recently have really started just leveling. Liking leveling, liking going back to classic and hardcore and just leveling. Just being in the world. And even just like picking Cataclysm and just going out and doing like old Cataclysm zones. Yeah. While you're leveling and stuff like that. But I would have to say this expansion is probably in the top 3.
Oh yeah, I think Legion's the only one I think that can really compare, especially at this point. And like if Legion had started, imagine Legion if you had the catch-up mechanics that you have now in the War Within. Like, that is the only thing that Legion didn't do well. And this just,
like you said, it doesn't have the infinite grind, and that's perfect. I think the vault system has been fleshed out and perfected. Again, we don't play PvP at all, so I don't know what PvP is doing or anything like that, but raids are just consistently insanely good and well done, and dungeons, and honestly, I'm okay with lately, since Legion, basically, it's been this, you get 4 zones, you get 8 dungeons, you get a new raid, and then you're going to get 3 patches that are going to add a raid, a mega dungeon, maybe another 2 dungeons here or there, and then like 2 to 3 new zones. That's all perfect. That's all fine. Exactly. Do that every expansion. Do that for Midnight. Do that for the Last Titan. It's a formula that works, and I don't think I can get tired of it as long as they are. Even the renown systems, totally fine with. They're pretty good. I don't like that they're a little battle passy, but ultimately you just. I like that you just play the game, and you just get rewarded for it. Whether it's renown or gear or whatever, you just, like, me and my wife log on and we're like, what are we going to do? We could do anything. We could go do some dungeons, we could go delve, we could run LFR. So, yeah, I would say ultimately, but that's all we have for time. We've gone over a little bit, but
like usual.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for making the time, Theo. I know it's been a long weekend for you. And then, leave a like and subscribe. Episode 4 will be out next week, and when we enter October, finally. And, yeah. Any last words, Theo?
No, just thanks for everyone listening. Like I said, subscribe, leave a comment. If you think we're shills and that the War Within is garbage, then tell us why.
Yeah,
I
there
would
you go. Tell us in the comments why.
You like it, but,
And
but
maybe we'll feature your
hate...
comment on the next episode, and we can pick your comment apart.